When it comes to product photography, especially editing pictures, it becomes so easy, and today I'm going to show you how to do it in 5 easy steps. It literally is just a process of elimination. You look at your picture, you see what you want to change, and you change it. There's no set rule, there's not a set structure that has to happen for every single picture. So let me take you through a picture that we photographed and exactly how we would edit it. So here we have a simple picture that we took for our client, Miami Beach Bum. And the first thing we're gonna do is pop it right over into Photoshop and start working away. So I'm going to right click, edit in, and edit in Adobe Photoshop. So the first thing I wanna do is go ahead and adjust some colors. We want this background to be more teal, less blue, kind of going with that monochrome look. So I'm going to unlock the layer, Command J to duplicate it, filter, camera raw filter, and we're just going to adjust the blues using the color mixer. I'm gonna go to hue, find the blues, and just pull them over until they're more teal. I don't want it to be as punchy, so then I'm gonna go to saturation and pull that saturation down just a bit. I don't want it to overwhelm the product. Okay, I'm going to also color correct the product itself. To do that, I actually have a plain backdrop e-com shot of the product already, which helps, so I'm gonna Command C to copy it. Then I'm gonna paste it over here on this file. Use the dropper tool so I can make sure I'm using the exact color of the bottle. Get rid of that. And now I'm gonna go back to the layer I just edited. Command J to duplicate it because I don't wanna mess up the layer underneath it. So I'll name this one background, name this bottle, even though it's a container. I'm gonna use the object selection tool just to isolate the packaging. I don't want to change any other colors except for this packaging. I'm gonna select the color replacement tool, and we already told the program what color we wanted to change it to. So now I'm just gonna click, just like that. Sometimes when you have text, you'll notice in between the letters didn't quite change, so just hover your mouse over and click. If you make a mistake and accidentally color the wrong thing like that, just hit Command Z to undo. What separates a good photographer slash editor from a great photographer slash editor is attention to detail. Sometimes it's a little annoying to get these little letters. It just takes, an extra second, but doing that extra second is really going to shine through on the final product. So now I'm going to hit Command D, and this was the before, this was the after. The after is a bit too artificial looking for me. So to basically tone down the adjustment I did, I'm going to drop the opacity on this layer. So all I'm doing is making this layer a bit more see-through, which essentially is just blending it with the other layer. I like the way this looks. So now I'm just gonna compress those 2 layers together and call it a day. Merge layers. Next up, let's fix any blemishes. My favorite tool is the spot healing brush tool. I'm gonna zoom in and touch up the aloe here. Always touch up your fruit. Don't leave your fruit looking natural. There's always little tiny imperfections, so make sure that you are fixing that. You can see even the floor is a little bit ugly. You can also use content aware fill, but I don't wanna have to switch tools because that's just a bit more work that I don't have to do. This next step, we're going back into camera raw filter because the top of this product is a little too overexposed for me. So I'm just going to brush over the texture in camera raw and tone it down a little bit. Just gonna use the brush tool, bring it right over this corner and just drop the highlights. And that helps to bring out some more texture. If I wanted, I can even up the texture, just like that. Now, Command D to deselect. I'm gonna duplicate this layer because now we're gonna do a little bit of dodge and burning. So I'm going to isolate my subject again. I'm gonna go over here, and I like to start with burning. I like to make it big and drop the hardness all the way down. That way we have a nice blurred effect. Burning is going to deepen the shadows. Dodging is going to brighten the highlights. So I like to just drag it down the side, drag it down the other side, switch to dodge, and drag it down the middle. Sounds so simple, right? Command D, watch the difference. Before, after. Before, after. When you start incorporating dodge and burn into your product images, you can really reshape the product and make it pop off the screen just a little bit more, which is going to give your images another level of high-end look. Now that we've done that, I'm going to merge layers down. Some people disagree with blending all of your layers. I'm confident in my edits, which is why I squish them all together. And if I make a mistake, well, I don't make mistakes. So that's a lie. I make a lot of mistakes, but we like to call them happy accidents around here, okay? They always lead me down another creative idea. Now, the last thing that I want to do is add a piece of oregano in here. I was trying to source this fresh ingredient and I just couldn't find it anywhere. I went to Trader Joe's, I went to Publix, couldn't find it at Walmart, Lowe's. So here we are. Let's use the new Gen Fill tool. I want it in this bottom corner, so I'm just gonna make a pretty large selection. I guess I wouldn't call that large. Generative Fill, and I'm going to type in oregano leaf. After several rounds of generating oregano leaves, this is the one I ended up on. Now, a trick that I do to make this look a bit more realistic is I go into filter and I add a bit of noise into it because our image is not perfectly clear and this oregano pops a lot. So I'm going to hit add noise, 2.45 is pretty good. Then I'm gonna go into filter, camera raw filter, and I'm gonna drop the green down a little bit because it is a bit punchy and I want it to match the aloe a little better. Color mixer, luminance, and I'm just gonna bring it down like that. As you can see, there is like a faint box around, and that whole box is just kind of where it inserted this effect. So to get rid of that, I'm going to use the eraser tool, drop that hardness, and just go like that. Now you don't even see that imaginary box. And I think I'm happy with this, so I'm going to merge down again. I could have just hit merge visible, but let's save it and hop back into Lightroom to put the final touches on this picture. Now we're back in Lightroom and I'm just gonna do a couple slider adjustments. I'm looking at the picture, it looks a bit flat. How do you make it look punchier? Make the contrast go up. Drop some of the blacks. Make it a little bit sharper. If we wanted to make the product pop more, I could go into the brush tool. Actually, let's do the object tool. And this is just telling the program, hey, this is the object I want you to look at. So it's gonna say, hey, I found your object. Now, let's make it pop just a bit more. Drop the highlights because they're a little bit obsessive. Now, I think the product looks a little bit too saturated. So I'm going to see what happens when we drop the teal. Or what we could do is just go back to the mask, drop the saturation on that a little bit. And there we go. Now here's the before and here's the after. When it comes to using that generative fill feature, you cannot guarantee consistent results, so make sure that you've experimented with it and tested it out prior to using it on an actual project. But that is it, editing a product picture in 5 easy steps. If you want to know more about building a photography business, we do have a 5-day free mini course coming up. Join the waitlist down below to be notified as soon as it drops, but until then, I will see you in the next video.